Hello?
Oh my god, Heather.
Why are you crying?
I didn't get into... What's the name of that school again?
The University of Texas?
Yeah. I didn't get into the University of Texas. Probably because some black girl from the ghetto took my spot.
Hey, Chris, what's up?
Hey, Al. Remember I was telling you yesterday about my cousin that just got accepted to the Bond Preparatory?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I was talking to her last night, and apparently she hates it there. She's just not fitting in.
What do you mean? That's such an amazing opportunity. I can't imagine how much money her parents must have had saved away for her to attend a $30,000 school.
It's not what you think. She's on diversity scholarships.
Still, that's such an amazing opportunity that she should take full advantage of.
Well, it's the first time that she's the only black kid in her class. Nonetheless, the only poor kid in the school.
You know, it's really interesting that you bring that up because just last night I was reading this New York Times article, and the kids that were interviewed in the article from these schools were basically talking about this large divide between the haves and the have-nots. And the unfortunate part of the situation is it's often reflective of race.
Yeah, that's why I'm so torn about this upcoming Supreme Court case.
So Chris, why exactly are you torn on affirmative action?
Well, when you look at the people that affirmative action are ideally supposed to be helping, it's supposed to be minorities from low-income families. But when you look at, let's say, corporate America, you see a lot of people that come from affluent families that go to prestigious universities, then coming through diversity programs. It sort of defeats the purpose. And it weeds out the people that affirmative action is ideally supposed to be helping. So maybe they should be considering economic factors.
I mean, that's a really good point you make, but if you restructure affirmative action to only consider economic factors and completely neglect race as a whole, it's gonna essentially leave out the middle class. I mean, if you look at the average middle class family where they're pulling in $23,000 a year with 4 people in their household alone, you and I both know that that's still not enough to even begin to put them on the same playing field as, let's say, upper middle class families or wealthy class families. And at the end of the day, they will get squeezed out of an equal opportunity or an equal shot in education.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess at the end of the day, affirmative action is supposed to be there to protect people from prejudice. So even if you're a black woman that went to Harvard University and grew up in Baldwin Hills, at the end of the day, during your interview, you're still going to be subjected to the same sorts of racial prejudice.
I mean, everyone from blacks to Latinos, Asians, Native Americans, women, people with disabilities, veterans, the list goes on. The point I'm really trying to make is affirmative action certainly blankets the entire minority community, and at the end of the day, we all benefit.
And I'd even argue that whites benefit from affirmative action. Listen out like
I'm listening.
An article just came out in The Atlantic the other day that pointed out that at a lot of higher institutions, they use the ambiguity that affirmative action provides to make sure that whites remain the majority. If you look at Harvard, for example, the number of Asians going there has gone down, but obviously the Asian population has gone up in the United States, and when you look at raw test numbers, Asians are undeniably doing the best in the country. What do you call that but affirmative action for whites?
Good fact. Point taken, Chris. I mean, if we do away with affirmative action completely, that's a step backwards in providing equal socioeconomic opportunities for everyone that affirmative action covers.
So what do you see as an ideal affirmative action plan?
I mean, Chris, the only way I can potentially see affirmative action working and only considering economic factors on a college level is if the affirmative action program itself broadens its horizon. And what I mean is when you look at poverty, it doesn't just start from an older age. Poverty affects kids from the time they're born into the cycle of poverty. So in order for affirmative action to be effective on a college level, it has to be implemented earlier. So affirmative action ideally needs to look at kids from an elementary level and an early start of development in order to be successful later on by only looking at economic factors.
Unfortunately, this idea is not on the Supreme Court's table this January. And while affirmative action is not the first thing we think about when we sit in a college classroom, we all benefit from the diffusion of ideas diversity provides. As globalization rapidly increases, having a microcosm of the world right in our classrooms is an American advantage, and affirmative action protects that. I'm Chris.
I'm LB,
And thank you for riding with us on the elevator.